the solving of problems. And everybody's got a list of problems. Everybody. The rich merely ask for a longer list. But solving problems is a real challenge, and there's all kinds of problems: business problems, family problems, personal problems, financial problems, mental problems, emotional problems. We've all got these challenges. But that's the game of life, how to take it like it is and make it like you want it. How to turn resources into productivity. Human resources, physical resources, solving problems. That's the challenge of life and lifestyle. See, the challenge is how to be happy with what you got. You got something. The next key is how can you be happy with it? It's a challenge. It's a problem. It needs to be solved. I met Neil Armstrong one time, first man to step his foot on the moon. Neat guy. I met him in Chicago. Neil Armstrong said, going to the moon was simply a matter of solving problems. That's the way he described it. The trip to the moon was just solving problems. So no telling where you can go if you solve the problems. No telling what kind of a journey you can take. Just solve the problems. Now, let me give you some keys on problem solving that really help to alter my life. Problem solving. First, work out your problems on paper, not just conversation and thinking. Put the problem on paper. You'll find, if you're around us quite a bit, the evening seminar, these 2 days, any other context you might have with us, we're always talking about paper, journals, projects, books, learning to think on paper. And problem solving is the same thing. To solve a problem, simple. First, divide a piece of paper in half. On this side of the paper, state the problem. Just write it out. Now, you don't have to live on it or live in it. You don't have to dwell on it. You don't have to stay on it, but you do have to state it. To make an intelligent decision, you need the accurate facts. You got to know what the problem is. So that's the first step. Just write it out. In some very simple language, here is the problem. I've got this and this and this. Okay? Just make a statement of the problem. Now on this side, work out the answers. Okay? On paper, in your thinking process. Now, to solve a problem, let me give you 3 questions to ask to solve any problem. 3 questions to ask to solve any problem. Now, this is a process to go through. And you want to go through a process because here's what you want. Not just the solution to a problem. You want to become a problem solver. If you solve a problem, that's temporary. If you become a problem solver, that's permanent. It's like the old line of what's better, to have a fish or to learn how to fish. Right? It's much better to learn how to fish than it is to just be handed a fish. The same is true in sales. We teach in sales. Making a sale is temporary. Becoming a salesperson is permanent. Right? People who are just going for the next sale, live what's known as the temporary sales life. And they're always scrambling, simply because they don't become a salesperson, a persuader, by working hard on themselves, okay? So what you want to become is a problem solver. And you do that by going through this process. First question is, what could I do? The first question to solve the problem is, what could I do to solve the problem? Now, don't go beyond step 1 till you've thoroughly covered it. Then just make a list of some of the potential answers. Here's the first one, here's the second one, here's the third one. I could do this, or I could do this, or I could do this. Just start toying with some of the answers on the paper. Then, once you've got these put together, which is the best one? You say, well, this one would take too long. I need an answer a little quicker. I need to do it sooner. This one seems a little weak. This first one I thought of, that's probably the answer right there. Just work with it on paper, not in your mind. The best way to organize your thoughts is to write them down. It's a little difficult to just organize them in your mind. Organize answers in your mind. Come up with potential possibilities, options. You just got to write out your options on paper, my opinion. Now then, here's the second question to ask. Second question to solve a problem is, what could I read? There could very well be a book on the problem. Or if I went back through my journals, what could I read that might find an answer? Maybe you've got a problem that's got a section in the library. You just go to that section, start going through the books. Somebody else might have put a whole lifetime into trying to solve that particular problem, and they've written a whole book on it. Or there's several books on it. So that's a major question. What could I read? Okay, number 2. Here's the third question to solve a problem. Who could I ask? Now, don't go to number 3 till you've passed number 1 and number 2. And if you pass number 1 and number 2 to the best of your ability, and you've done your best to work it out, and you still don't have the answer, and time is critical, and you've got to get closer to the solution, then go to number 3 and ask. But let me tell you what knowledgeable people are always willing to do. Answer questions if they get the sense you've done your best to figure it out beforehand. You can't believe this sense you get from people. If you say, I've done this, I've been through this, and I've read this, and I've done all this, and I still can't come up with the answer, could you help me? Almost anybody unique would say, of course. Right? What is the question? Let me see if I can help you with it. If you've gone through this process, we all respond, first of all, to somebody else's effort. They just didn't come to us for some cheap, quick answer. Okay? Now, see, we're all inclined to do that, right? When somebody says, I've done this, and I've done this, and I still need some help, and I think you can do it. We're ready to go for it. So, ask. Don't be afraid to ask. Go for the answers. But don't bypass this just for the quick answer, because that won't give you the muscle. It won't give you the personal development. It won't give you the strength and the know-how to become a problem solver if you skip these 2 steps. So those are the 3 steps to solving problems. And once you become a problem solver, no telling what you can do with your business and your life and your social contact. No telling what you can do with what you've got for the rest of your life's journey.